That's you and not me.
We'll go ahead and begin this afternoon's agenda meeting. This afternoon, we'll be reviewing the action items that will be formally addressed next Tuesday, February 17th, right here at City Hall at 6 p.m. And I'll call upon our city manager, Mr. Bill Burrow. Before Bill starts off, I want to, earlier this afternoon, the city board as well as city administration met with the Leadership Hot Springs class. It was, I guess, Municipal Government Day and spent some time with us here, and we welcome. And there's a number of them still remaining here today for the agenda meeting. So, Bill, tell us what we got on the agenda.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Your first item is consider Resolution R2627, a resolution revising the 2025 and the 2026 budgets by appropriating funds for certain prior year expenditures and for other purposes. Our Finance Director, Karen Scott, will present the item. Karen?
Thank you. Good afternoon. As you all know, in Arkansas, municipal budgets expire at midnight on December 31st each year. Purchase orders that were issued against that budget expire as well. Thus, items that were ordered in 2025 but were not received until 2026 must be charged against the 2026 budget. At the beginning of each year, we must make appropriations in the current budget for capital items and one-time projects that were not received or completed before December 31st of the prior year. In addition, certain budget adjustments are needed in the 2025 budget and are due to known changes. Attachment A in your packet will reflect the 2025 remaining appropriation that needs to be reappropriated for 2026 expenditures. Attachment B lists all of the open purchase orders that need to be carried over into the 2026 budget. Attachment C reflects a few budget amendments to the 2025 budget in the General Fund, the Probation Fee Fund, Intra-City Transit Fund, Wastewater Fund, and Employee Wellness Fund budgets. The financial impact will increase expenses in each of the affected funds, thereby reducing the 2025 year-end fund balance or net assets. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Ms. Scott?
The attachments will be in your packet.
Right. Thank you.
Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Next is consider Resolution R2628, a resolution authorizing the filing and acceptance of a U.S. Department of Transportation better utilizing investments to leverage development or the BUILD grant application to support Hot Springs safe and connected, a multimodal connectivity and safety initiative. And Mike Hill, our Assistant City Engineer, will present the item.
Good afternoon. The City of Hot Springs is requesting authorization to submit an application for $9,896,000 in funding through the U.S. Department of Transportation's BUILD discretionary grant program for a comprehensive transportation initiative titled Hot Springs Safe and Connected, a multimodal connectivity and safety initiative. The proposed application combines multiple coordinated transportation improvements into a single integrated program aimed at improving safety, mobility, economic competitiveness, and the equitable access throughout the city. Major components of the initiative include construction of the Belding Connector to improve freight movement and reduce heavy truck traffic on Malvern Avenue, development of a segment of the Southwest Trail to enhance regional trail connectivity, excuse me, construction of the Pullman Trailhead to provide direct access to the National Park trails, support tourism and neighborhood trail, and connections along Stokes Trail to expand equitable access to the city's trail system, and safety and operations improvements at the Higdon Ferry Road and Central Avenue intersection across from Oaklawn Racing Casino Resort. The proposed initiative aligns with the BUILD's program of priorities related to transportation safety, workforce access, and multimodal connectivity, regional transportation linkage, and economic development. The application reflects refinements made throughout prior federal grant cycles and incorporates updated USDT evaluation criteria. Approval of this action authorizes submission of the BUILD grant application only. As a rural applicant, the city is not required to provide a local match, and approval does not obligate the city to expend any local funds. Any questions?
Any questions of Mike? Director Holliday?
I'm sure it'll be in the packet, but what's the timeline for review and notification?
I believe it'll be late this summer to get the answer for this one. I'll double check on that to be sure, though.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Thank you.
Next item is consider resolution R2629, a resolution authorizing a memorandum of agreement between the Federal Aviation Administration and the City of Hot Springs, Arkansas for land use rights for navigational aids at the Hot Springs Memorial Airport, and our airport director, Don Rollett, is here to discuss the item. Don?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This memorandum of agreement is for 8 small sites around the airfield for the emplacement of navigational aids that benefit both the airport as well as the national airspace system. These areas are depicted on a map that will be in your packet. The MOA indicates the 8 sites for access of the equipment, for maintaining the equipment. The current 20-year MOA expires in September. The new MOA has the same stipulations as the current one, and if approved, then it will go into effect October 1st, following the expiration of the current one.
Any questions? Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. Is it my understanding then that there's nothing new being added into this agreement? It's just the reauthorization of what's in place now?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Thank you.
Next item is consider resolution R2630, a resolution amending resolution number 10384 as amended by approving an updated Appendix K of the airport property management policy to reflect the current airport property rates based on the Consumer Price Index. And again, Don.
The board approved an airport property management policy, and its Appendix K is that of the airport rate structure. In 2023, some tenants saw a 10% increase in rent due to the status of the economy that's taken into account. Some hangars had not had a CPI assessment in 10 years at that point. In 2024, we presented and the board approved an amendment where we began the annual CPI instead of waiting multiple years. And we did that in order to lessen the impact of the combined years being adjusted. The policy has the airport calculating the CPI in January, bringing it to the board in February, and then once passed would be effective March 1st. This year's CPI is a 2.2% increase on hangar and building rents. And the adjusted rates, the packet will have all the rates in there for you.
Any questions on this item? Director Webb?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Mr. Don, would the packet too show the, I guess, spillage rate of the hangars too?
Excuse me, sir?
How many hangars are available? How many are occupied?
We have 95 hangars, and right now they're all occupied. And we do have a waiting list that we have worked through, so it's a smaller waiting list than it has been.
About how many are on the waiting list?
I believe 15 the last time we had a conversation about it.
Thank you.
Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. Are all of the leases payments current?
No, ma'am, we have some that are behind in their leases, and we're addressing those individually as we come through it.
Any further questions? Hearing none, thank you.
Next, we have consider resolution R2631, a resolution authorizing the filing for and acceptance of a grant with the Arkansas Division of Aeronautics for taxiway A repairs at the Hot Springs Memorial Airport and approving a budget amendment. And again, Don.
Last year, we had a pavement failure in the main taxiway intersection at the airport along taxiway Alpha, east of runway 1331. Your packet will have a map in there showing those areas that are affected. It's the central taxiway, so it affects everybody. The taxiway was constructed in 2018, and with this pavement failure, we've had a sinkhole that developed on the taxiway, making it unusable. After much discussion, research, and negotiation up to and at the city level, the repair project estimated cost is down to $375,000 from the original amount of $1 million. The airport is requesting authorization to file for and accept a 80-20 grant with the State Aeronautics Board for $375,000, of which the state caps at $300,000. So that would leave a local contribution of $75,000. And in this resolution, we're also asking for that budget adjustment.
Any questions on this item? Director Holliday?
Thank you. What's the timeline on this? Is this just an open rolling grant, or is there a deadline with notification?
It's a rolling grant. It has to be turned in by the end of this month in order to make the Aeronautics Division's board next month.
Okay.
And they meet the third Wednesday of the month.
Okay, so we would theoretically hear back soon, within 6 to 8 weeks?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Well, once it goes to them by the end of this month, then they will coordinate whether or not it makes their list for next month.
Thank you.
And then that would be awarded at that meeting. So we would be ready to have paperwork going by the 1st of April.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is consider resolution R 2632, a resolution approving amendments to the City of Hot Springs Citizen Participation Plan for the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG program, and for other purposes. And our grant writer, Sarah DeLozier, is going to present.
Thank you, sir. The City of Hot Springs is a community development block grant entitlement community and is required by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, to maintain an adopted citizen participation plan outlining how the public is informed of and involved in the CDBG planning, amendment, and reporting activities. The proposed updates to the Citizen Participation Plan are administrative and procedural in nature. They modernize and clarify public notice and outreach practices, remove outdated COVID-19 and CARES Act specific language that is no longer applicable, and align with the document with current HUD regulations and guidance. The updates do not reduce or eliminate any required public notice, public hearing, or public comment obligations. For ease of review in your packet, there will be the proposed amendments link, and they will be shown in red and underlined with deletions shown in stricken text. In accordance with HUD requirements, the city's existing citizen participation plan public comment period was conducted from January 11th through February 12th. The legal notice was published in our local newspaper, and the proposed amendments were made available for public review online and in hard copy. The Community Development Advisory Committee, CDAC, reviewed the proposed amendments and recommended board approval at their meeting last Thursday. Adoption of the updated Citizen Participation Plan ensures continued compliance with HUD regulations and supports transparent and inclusive public engagement for the city's CDBG program. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Sarah? Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is consider resolution R 2633, a resolution approving the purpose of an E40 R2 Series Bobcat compact excavator with attachments from Bobcat of Hot Springs, an authorized dealer of Doosan Bobcat North America, Inc., pursuant to the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program. This is in the amount of $76,607. $76,607, and our Parks and Recreation Director, Anthony Whittington, will present.
Thank you, Bill, members of the board. This is a new piece of equipment for the Parks and Recreation Department to be utilized a number of ways. Examples are brush and tree removal, digging for irrigation installations, installing riprap in parks along greenways, cleaning out lake beds, and various other Parks and Recreation needs. This is like I said, this is from Bobcat of Hot Springs through the Sourcewell contract. The purchase price is $76,607. This is replacing a 12-year-old piece of equipment, a 2014 model with well over 1,000 hours on it. The existing equipment is a Caterpillar, has been in and out of fleet multiple times. It's got some fuel system issues. It has, the pins are so wore out, they're welded onto the equipment, so we really can't change out attachments at this point, and so it's definitely been used. And so this is a request to replace that. So,
Any questions? Director Webb?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Anthony, was this 76,000, was this in the budget for 26 too?
yes, sir. Yes, it was.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And the unit will be,
I thought it was.
it'll be sold as surplus as well, the older unit.
Any additional questions? Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next item is consider resolution R2634, a resolution approving change order number 5 to the agreement with Coakley Company Incorporated for additional bypass pumping required for Phase 1 of the Gulfa Interceptor Phase 1 project in the amount of $280,000. And our city engineer, Gary Carnahan, will discuss the item. Gary?
Thank you. You guys are having quite an evening, aren't you? Bouncing around from solid waste and parks and grants, and now here we are at wastewater. My item is related to the largest portion of our Gulfa Interceptor sewer replacement. It starts at the Gulfa pump station and then goes upstream about a mile, a little over 5,000 feet, replacing a 36-inch pipe with a 42-inch pipe. So it was originally bid at $9.5 million with the initial bid contract that we awarded. Since then, we've found couple of different things to save money, and so you may recall that we have brought to you previously a negative change order, a savings of $1.2 million, and reduced that contract down to a little over $8 million. But now we need to add back because we have underestimated the amount of time it will take to bypass pumping. Bypass pumping means that while we're actually placing the new sewer main in the same trench where the old sewer main was. So we have to stop the flow upstream and pump around with a pipe on the ground, with the pumps and pipe on the ground to isolate that section while we replace it. And that's taking more time than our contract was set up on a per monthly fee. And it's taking more time than anticipated. And so we didn't have enough months in the contract when we bid it out. So because of that, we need to add some additional time, and we've negotiated with the contractor to lower his initial unit price to a lower price because we have more time and he doesn't have to set up every time to do that. So it comes to $280,000, which is a lump sum. We are converting now from a monthly fee to a lump sum fee that he has agreed that he will, for this amount of money, he'll take care of the bypass pumping for the remainder of the project. So that's what it's all about. There's a lot of detail in your packet about it, but that's an overview.
Very good. Any questions of Gary?
Good deal. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mayor, I do want to mention, Gary did mention it, but with this change order, we're still at really a negative of about $1 million from what the original project cost was for that particular job. Next item is consider resolution R2635, a resolution approving the purchase of a residential rear load collection vehicle from River City Hydraulics Incorporated pursuant to the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program. This is in the amount of $262,627.20. And our solid waste director, Samantha Jones, will discuss the item. Samantha.
Yes, I'm requesting board approval to purchase one rear load collection vehicle through Sourcewell via River City Hydraulics, Inc. This truck will be used to provide weekly garbage collection to residential customers throughout the city. It will replace Unit 9500, which is 10 years old. And the old unit would be sold at auction once the new unit came in. The quoted purchase price of $262,627.20 is below the amount included in our 2026 budget.
Any questions on this item? Hearing none, thank you.
Next item is Resolution R2636, a resolution approving the purchase of a commercial front-load collection vehicle from River City Hydraulics Incorporated pursuant to the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program. This is in the amount of $413,895.54. And again, Samantha.
Yes, I'm requesting board approval to purchase one front-load collection vehicle through Sourcewell from River City Hydraulics, Inc. This truck will be used to provide weekly collection of dumpsters throughout the city at businesses. This will replace Unit 9506, which is 10 years old, and again, the old unit would be sold at auction once the new one is received. The purchase price of $413,895.54 is below the amount included in our 2026 budget.
Excuse me, any questions on this item? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is Resolution R2637, a resolution authorizing the purchase of certain vehicles pursuant to Arkansas Code annotated 1458-104 and Hot Springs Code 2-6-1. This is in the amount of $1,210,991, and our Fleet Director, Greg Spees, will discuss the item. Greg?
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the board. Yes, this is our annual purchase of vehicles off the state contract. Right now, there's 28 vehicles from the state vehicle contract that we need to purchase. Arkansas law and the City of Hot Springs ordinance permits the purchase of vehicles through a contract administered by the state. Also, Act 410 of 2009 allows new motor vehicles purchased from a licensed automobile dealership located in Arkansas for an amount not to exceed the fleet price awarded by the state. As I mentioned, there's 28 vehicles. I've got in your packet, I've got a list that's attachment A. That's kind of an overview, and then there'll also be detailed information in the packet. The total purchase price of all these vehicles is $1,210,991. Of this amount, $190,370 will be funded by the general fund. $616,044 will be funded by the police fund, which includes $38,650 for an animal services truck. $106,506 will be funded by fire. $41,000 will be funded by solid waste. $58,000 will be funded by the water fund. $117,379 will be funded by the wastewater fund, and $81,594 will be funded by the utilities fund. Funding for general, police, and fire accounts will be provided by short-term financing. I think it was approved at your last meeting.
Very good. Any questions for Greg? Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving into old business, there is one item of old business. It's consider ordinance O2604, an ordinance amending Chapter 7 of Title 10 of the Hot Springs Code pertaining to the Hot Springs Paid Parking Program and for other purposes. And our Deputy City Manager, Lance Spicer, will present the item. Lance?
Thank you. Good evening. As the title indicates, this item was put before you January 20th, and it was tabled with a date certain of February 17th. And at that January 20th meeting and through some work sessions that we've held with the board, we kind of heard from you all. You wanted a simplified parking program, simplify the rate structure, make things a little more predictable and consistent. So that's really what we've tried to accomplish with these amendments to the parking program. There's going to be quite a bit of information in your board packet as far as some maps that'll depict where those rate zones are. Additionally, it'll provide you with a little bit of background on some revenue projections based upon the 2025 experience and the proposed new rates. So what we're proposing from a rate perspective is to have one rate on Central Avenue primary rate, $5 per hour, and it still will be a 4-hour max parking session. Then we'll have a $2 per hour for the secondary zones, and there is no time restrictions on those zones. Really, if you think secondary, that's going to be Fountain Street, the Exchange Street parking garage, and our various surface lots. The program itself, what we're proposing to do is to shrink the overall size of the parking system, and in doing so, we'll release some of the paid parking areas into unrestricted, unregulated free parking. And as part of that, we are proposing to do away with the employee permits that are currently in place and utilize those free and unregulated spaces for those employees. And additionally, we intend to provide a better understanding to the various employers and employees of the parking options that are not part of the city's parking plan. So primary, secondary, there's a lot of unregulated private lots that are located in and around the downtown area. And additionally, one thing that we're looking at, or we will be proposing as well, is expanding the Fountain Street into that secondary zone, and we'll be removing Washita Avenue from the paid parking system. So within your packet, as I said, there'll be quite a bit of information there for you to review. But all told, looking at 2 rate zones, a reduced footprint of the parking system, doing away with the employee permits for 2026, and we've really worked pretty hard on this particular amendment. I think it'll accomplish a lot of the board's direction of what you gave us, but of course, February 17th, you may have some individuals here, because we have spoken to the downtown merchants. Myself and the city manager did talk to them about this particular program, and they did say that there would be some representatives there to give their input on the proposal. With that,
Any questions of Lance? Director Webb?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Lance, are we including anything in this revised ordinance to include residents of downtown? Is that going to be included?
oh, I'm
too?
sorry, I did leave that part out. Thank you for bringing that up.
You're welcome. I'll be
yes.
here all week.
Doing away with the employee permits, but still keeping the residential permits. And what we're intending to do is to offer 1 residential permit per residence. So currently, I think we have about 7 or 8 residents that have permits downtown, and the fee that we're proposing is $480. They would be able to park in the primary and secondary zones for that rate. Thank you.
You're welcome. For $480 per year?
Yes, on an annual basis.
And right now, that is per residence, not per resident. So if the board has a strong feeling one way or the other, you can let us know that at your business meeting.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Could that include more than 1 permit per residence, or is that just 1 permit?
The way it's written now, it's 1 permit per residence. And if the board has a strong feeling one way or the other, whether that be residence or resident, meaning more than 1
More than
permit
one.
for one address.
Would
Need to
that
let
be
us know
included
that.
with 480, or would it be another 480 to get another
It'd be
permit?
480 per permit.
Director Trustee?
Lance, do we have any of those right now that people living at a specific location have 2 permits? Do you know that?
No, the ones that are the current 7 or 8 permits that we have now, if they do have 2 cars, there's only 1 permit per address. So the one individual that husband and wife, he just parks by the Catholic Church there on Whittington.
Okay. The reaction from the Downtown Merchants Association, was it generally positive? Was it?
I think they were relieved to have a little bit of consistency, because I think the permits have been a little stressful for them. But I think all told, with spring break and everything coming with March, stepping up in their busy season, they seem to be supportive of the reduced size of the system, but also providing more unregulated free parking within those cross streets of downtown.
In our packet, will the information be detailed as to where the free unregulated parking will be and how many spaces will be there?
Yes,
Is it on the map?
it will. It'll have the blue shading
Okay.
on the map, but also in the board action request, I'll provide you with a total number of spaces within those zones.
Okay, roughly how many free and unregulated spots?
Approximately 350, 400 spaces that are 350. I think we've reduced the system by about a third.
Okay.
So
Okay.
We have
So-
a total of 749 paid spots.
749 paid,
Paid.
but then we had 800 permits this past year that we didn't charge for, but we're only going to have 350, 349.
Yeah, for the unregulated spaces, but additionally, there are quite a few other unregulated spaces that were beyond, like for example, Reserve Street.
Okay.
Beyond Reserve Street, as you go up the hill, those are all free parking. There's quite a few there, and we're not necessarily including those in our count, but I see what you're saying. It's not necessarily a one-for-one.
Right.
Existing permits for those unregulated spaces, but I will say that I think the 800 is pretty much a high water mark when it
Okay.
comes to employees. Truthfully, we expected about 500, 550 employee permits within the downtown.
And not all of those are working at the same time.
That's right. That's right. They're not all down there at the same time. That's right. Okay, thank you.
Director Garcia.
Thank you. Did the feedback from the meeting reflect that they believe they could explain that to their customers? Because a lot of the employees and business owners downtown at the last meeting voiced concern that they couldn't explain it when people ask.
Yeah, I think that with the rate structure, going away from the tiered rate structure, I think that was a little more complicated to explain. But additionally, with the zones that are being proposed, they're a little more logical. They're Central Avenue, surface lots, and a little bit of Malvern Avenue. So pretty easy to administer and to explain.
We'll
Thank
be able
you.
to place the kiosks that are currently on Washita. We'll be able to put those in, where we have paid parking now that we're removing. We'll repurpose those kiosks in areas that may need a few more. And also Park Mobile.
Yes,
That was
that'll be
pretty
big.
well receptive, that once we bring that into the plan, it's going to be much easier to use. Most people have a Park Mobile app already on their phone.
Thank you.
Mayor, just from a procedural standpoint, I want to remind the board that this item was tabled, so it's coming back to you as it was presented at your last meeting. The packet will contain a draft of a substitute ordinance, if you will, that spells out the new proposed plan. So we will need to have a motion and a second to get the original one on the floor. If you choose to amend it by replacing it with it, then we can start talking about it, and then if you want to amend it, you can. But I just want to, I'll be here, so we'll get through it. But procedurally, we'll have to follow that route.
Okay.
Director Dobbs Smith.
Does Park Muddle, whatever it is we have now, do they charge an extra fee for us to use Park Mobile?
No, it's basically the fee is paid by the user, and then in essence they're utilizing whatever merchant processor we have, which is AMG. It'll rotate through that.
So there's not
merchant
an additional pass-through fee or anything for
Correct.
using an additional company?
Yeah.
If we decided at some point in the future just to go with Park Mobile, could we still use the kiosks we purchased, or are they specific?
They are specific to IPS, but you don't necessarily have to use all the components that IPS offers. They have the mobile pay, they have the kiosks, and then they also have text to pay. So if you wanted to have one or the other, I think we would be able to divest of one and if we had a mobile platform we liked, we could certainly do that.
I'm not saying, but
Yeah.
I think maybe the issues we've had have been because we had so many moving parts to our proposal. So there's no additional fee. It costs us the same whether people text, whether they use Park Mobile, whether they use IPS, all the same to us.
Correct. Yeah, the fees from Park Mobile. The only fee that the city would incur is that merchant processing side of things. And to be honest with you, parking, the way the various systems are set up, you generally offer a lot of different mobile app options just because it doesn't necessarily cost the provider anything additional. It's a user paid fee, and you definitely want to have more options, more ways for your customers to pay.
Thank you for clarifying.
But when you talk about Park Mobile and the kiosk, Park Mobile is only app. They're only an app software. So you couldn't do away with Park Smart IPS to use Park Mobile. It's just an add-on basically to what we
extension.
currently have, yeah.
So it would be less expensive if we didn't have to maintain kiosks, but at this point, we're going to go at least another year, right?
It would be less expensive if we didn't have kiosks.
Any additional questions? All right, thank you.
Next item will be your first item under new business. It's considered Resolution R 2638, a resolution authorizing out-of-state travel to the National League of Cities Congressional City Conference for Director Phyllis Beard, as required by Hot Spring Code 2-1-5 and for other purposes. Ann Hartman.
Thank you. Director Beard has submitted a pre-travel report requesting to travel to Washington, D.C. for National League of Cities Congressional City Conference. That is scheduled for March 16 through 18 with executive education and pre-conference activities March 14 through 15. Hot Springs Code 2-1-5 does state that all out-of-state travel shall be subject to available funding in the Board of Directors travel budget line item. And whenever possible, the attendance of the out-of-state events on behalf of the City of Hot Springs should be rotated among the individual members of the Board of Directors. It further states that travel costs and miscellaneous expenses shall be paid at the rate and in accordance with the procedures established in the administrative policy and associated forms that make up the travel procedures for city employees and city officials. According to the report form, the total estimated amount for costs for registration and travel are $4,225.95. All of this will be in your packet. The pre-travel report form, the code sections, and the travel procedures for city employees and city officials will be linked, as well as a link to the NLC website for you to read about the Congressional City Conference and see a tentative agenda.
Any questions of Harmony? Hearing none, we'll move on.
Next item is consider Resolution R 2639, a resolution setting a public hearing pursuant to Arkansas Code annotated 14-235-223 on a proposed ordinance amending ordinance number 5275 and setting development impact fees for the wastewater system of the City of Hot Springs. And our city attorney, B. Albright, will present.
Thank you, Bill, Mayor, members of the board. The next two items are connected with one another. The first one is for the purpose of setting a public hearing. Under Arkansas Code annotated section 14-56103, cities are authorized to impose impact fees on new development, the impact that they have on the capacity of infrastructure, which includes, among other things, wastewater. In order to change the wastewater impact fee that was originally established in 2004 under Ordinance 5275, we have to have a public hearing after the introduction of such an ordinance. And so pursuant to 14-235-223D, the sole purpose of this resolution is to set a public hearing to take place on March the 3rd at board chambers as part of your regularly scheduled business meeting.
Okay, any questions of Brian? Hearing none, we'll move on.
Next item is consider ordinance number O-2607, an ordinance adopting development impact fees for the wastewater system of the City of Hot Springs, amending ordinance number 5275 and prescribing other matters relating thereto. And again, Mr. Albright.
Thank you, Bill. As mentioned, this is the action item that the public hearing is scheduled for. However, the action to take place at your next meeting on the 17th will not be to vote it up or down, but merely to introduce it, because the statute that forces us to have the public hearing says that the public hearing is after the introduction. So this will be for first reading by title only. However, so that you know what it's about, of course, all of this will be in your packet. But again, as I mentioned, state law authorizes these development impact fees on new development that impact the capacity of your infrastructure, in this case, wastewater. It is only to be used for the growth, the capacity associated with growth. It has to be put into a trust fund, segregated. It is imposed on new development, which is any residential, multifamily, commercial, industrial, or other habitable improvement to lands within the service area of the system. The commencement of a new development would be, 1, the recording of a final plat on or after June 1 of 2026. We're trying to give a little bit of time here to make sure that this is the word is out and people know what's going on. And if that plat depicts provisions for wastewater utilities. Or 2, in the event a final plat has previously been recorded prior to June 1 of 2026 without the collection of applicable wastewater impact fees, because remember in 2004 we did have an impact fee that was instituted at $500 per connection. Then it would be, if they had not paid the previous impact fee that was due, then they would pay the fee upon the application for a new wastewater connection beginning June 1, 2026. Or in some cases, there's not a plat involved. Maybe it's just a parcel of land or an existing meets and bounds that was not ever platted. If no plat is required, then upon the application for a new wastewater connection, again, beginning June 1 of 2026. There are exceptions. The schedule for the proposed, you're going to hear from Dan Jackson of Wildan Financial Services. You all have met him before. He has prepared a study both for water and for wastewater, and so you'll be hearing that information from him at next meeting. And
He'll zoom in for the agenda meeting, and then we'll be here in person for the business meeting.
Okay. So again, next week this will just be for the first reading. There are exceptions in the ordinance for who doesn't have to pay these impact fees, and they include reconstruction, expansion, or replacement of a previously existing residential unit that does not create an additional residential unit, or the installation of a larger water meter. Remember, wastewater has to be based on the size of the water meter because we can't meter wastewater. Another exception would be the replacement of a destroyed or partially destroyed non-residential building or structure with a new non-residential building or structure of the same use as the original structure and with no more than 5% increase in floor area from the original structure and no increase in the size or number of water meters. C, projects for which the impact fee, such a type of facility covered by this ordinance has previously been paid in an amount that equals or exceeds the impact fee that would have been required under this ordinance. D, projects built by governmental agencies. E, accredited public or private schools K through 12. F, construction within a duly established redevelopment district or improvement district for which the impact fees have specifically been waived by resolution of the Board of Directors prior to the commencement of such development. G, such other economic or community development projects for which the impact fee has specifically been waived by resolution of the Board of Directors prior to the commencement of such development. And then finally, H, we had a new act go into effect after this last session regarding accessory dwelling units. And so part of that act is a municipality cannot require a separate meter, a separate connection for the accessory dwelling units. So if they didn't have a separate connection, that wouldn't be an issue. But let's say that they did, that they wanted to have a separate connection. That act also capped the amount of any kind of development impact fee at $250. So that will be the fee for an accessory dwelling unit. There's also a provision for waiver if it is a that which would be a decision of the board exclusively in order to promote the economic development and the provisions for affordable housing in the city. The board of directors may, on a case-by-case basis, waive some or all of the impact fees imposed by a proposed development by this ordinance. Any such decision to waive impact fees on behalf of a developer shall be at the discretion of the board of directors and shall be made pursuant to the goals and objectives of the board of directors to promote economic development and affordable housing. Affordable housing developments may include federally funded projects or projects funded by private nonprofit organizations for the benefit of low to moderate income persons. Developers seeking the fee waiver, either in whole or in part, shall make an application on such form as may be prescribed by the city to the city manager or his or their designee, who shall process such applications for the consideration of the board of directors.
Any questions of Brian? Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. Would that last piece you just mentioned to us, Brian, would that include nonprofits such as Habitat for Humanity?
Yes, sir.
Would it be upon that organization to bring that up to us, or would it be automatic?
It would not be
waiver?
automatic. They would need to submit for the waiver.
Thank you.
Any additional questions?
I will say that there are not a ton of changes in this ordinance that we had in 2004. We've had this in place for a while. There are some that needed to be made because the laws changed or it just made sense. But it is by and large, other than the schedule of the fee, it's by and large what we've had before.
That fee schedule will be in your packet.
Any additional questions? Steve? The
Bill, will
Director
it be
Trustee?
in this packet coming up?
It
Or
is.
will it be after it's presented at the agenda?
It's going to be in your packet.
This coming?
The study will be, the study will be in there and the proposed, because this is the proposed ordinance. So only for first reading, but this is the proposed ordinance.
I thought it would have to be in there. since
Yes,
it
sir.
was
And
first
so it's being introduced, and we'll have your action on the 3rd.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, we got one final item.
Last item is ordinance number 02608, an ordinance amending ordinance number 4089 by conditionally accepting an extension of Peninsula Point and for other purposes, and our Public Works Director, Ron Seavright, will discuss the item. Ron?
Good afternoon. The length illustrated in the master street name list does not match the length of the adopted in the ordinance 4089. The ordinance states that the length of Peninsula Point is from Peninsula Drive south 1,350 feet to the dead end, including a 316-foot side loop. The master street name list states that it's 1,455 feet to include a 316-foot side loop. The proposed ordinance would not go into effect until the completion of the installation of utilities, sewer, and water to an equal size of the piping from their current termination point to the south end access gate, and to repave the roadway disturbed by the utility extensions to the same width as the existing street, which is 10 feet, with a minimum of 2-foot thickness of asphalt leading to the lot 5R as per the replat. The recorded with the Garland County Circuit Court on 1/13/26. All utility extensions and road repaving costs will be the responsibility of the property owner of Lot 5R. Furthermore, the acceptance will be contingent upon the completion of the work as outlined in this ordinance and must pass inspection by the City of Hot Springs Engineering Department at the time of said improvements are completed, and at that time would be accepted by the city and be added to the city street master index. So kind of an overview, the ordinance says it's 1,350 feet. The Master index says it's 1,455, and after the completion of these improvements, the actual lake will be 1,495 feet, once that property is developed.
14 and 90.
Any questions for Ron? Hearing none? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, that completes your items for the February 17th meeting.
And it looked like on the beginning part of the agenda, you do a State of the Union
There will be a State of the Union on the 17th.
on the 17th.
Or at least the city.
How about the city? Let's just limit it
State
to
of
the
the
city.
city. State of the city. I
We
see
both did.
Oh,
You agreed.
State of the city.
State of the city.
But they both said
I
union.
know.
All right.
We have a united city.
Thank you, Mayor.
Copycat.
Just bringing this to the board's attention and your attention, Mayor, I anticipate there being some possibility of a request to move item 4 to new business. Be happy to make that motion at the formal meeting.
Yeah, that's fine. We can adjust it at the meeting.
Well, can we just adjust it now in case people want to speak to it?
That's fine. We'll just
I mean-
move it. Everybody comfortable? We'll just move item 4 to the first item of new business. Airport property management policy, current rates. So item 4 will now be the first item under new business.
Appendix K, Don.
Any other changes? We're all good? All right. We are adjourned. Thank you.